Hello and welcome to FinextraTV. I'm Hannah Wallace, and with me today is Barry Rodrigues, Executive Vice President for the Payments Business Unit at Finastra. Hello Barry, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Hi Hannah, thanks for having me.
Really good to have you on. We're talking about the changing payments landscape, and I know that you lead Finastra's payments and BaaS department, so you're in a great position to sort of bring us up to date and tell us what are those big market trends you're seeing today, and tell us how they're impacting the customer as well.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's a very exciting time in payments, right? It's probably the most exciting time that we've ever seen. Things are evolving at a rapid pace. You have governments on a mission to make payments more seamless, transparent, affordable, democratized. So all that's going on one side. On the other side, you've got reg changes and standard changes like ISO 20022. A lot of those things going on at the moment, and banks have to react to all these things, right? So that's one whole dimension. And our job is to work with the banks to make sure that we facilitate for them and help them maneuver through all these requirements and these changes that are happening. Mm-hmm. Another thing we see is cloudification. Banks are seeing the benefit of the cloud, and they want to basically use the cloud more. And so they want to, when you use the cloud, you get the benefits of elasticity of demand, et cetera, and you can scale up, scale down. They want those benefits in their delivery. And so whether it's their cloud or our cloud, we have to enable, and that's what we're doing. We're enabling our facilities in terms of payments software to be able to be hosted in our cloud or their clouds, which is important. And then the third thing, which is really, a much used term, maybe often overused, is modernization. Mm-hmm. And that basically speaks to taking a monolithic piece of code and breaking it into constituents, into pieces, usable pieces. And I think really where banks are going with this, especially the big banks that we deal with, is they want to be able to consume what they want when they want. They don't want to have to take the entire end-to-end package from a software provider. And we need to be responsive to that. And so we are on a journey right now to modernize our software, to go from from monolithic architecture to containerized architecture, and to be able to give the banks that freedom of choice. But with that, obviously, we're working to become best in class in each of those components, so they won't want to go anywhere when they get there. Sure. But one of the things we do is we sit with our biggest banks and we get feedback from them, because to build a modernization path that was not matching what they had in mind is not a right thing to do. We like to listen to our customers, and so we sit with them, we share with them what we're doing over the next 1, 2, 3 years, and we get their feedback, and we will adjust our roadmap depending on how they see things. So, a lot of stuff going on in the industry. It's very exciting, and we feel pretty good about how we're trying to react and make our banks more successful in that environment.
There really is a lot going on, so thank you very much for bringing us up to date there. And another one is instant payments, isn't it? So we're seeing so much change in that space as well. So perhaps you could bring us up to date in this space as well and tell us about some of those services and how the banks are getting ready to adopt and support those services as well.
Yeah, instant payments is fascinating, right? 30 countries around the world are enabling instant payments. It's part of, again, I said governments are trying to make payments more instant, cheaper, more affordable, more available. And so whether it's a person paying another person, consumer to consumer, consumer to business, whether you pay a merchant, governments want to make that seamless and transparent and low cost as possible, virtually zero cost. We are enabling schemes around the world for this. Two big geographies that we focus on, obviously the US and Europe. In the US, you had the clearinghouse as the first wave of instant payments, and now there's FedNow, which is the newer, broader, more encompassing scale. Mm-hmm. Together with ISO 20022 is going to bring a lot of interesting applications for instant payments that we see. We just certified with FedNow to be one of the first providers of FedNow in the United States for banks. Mm-hmm. So that's exciting for us. In Europe, we've been doing instant payments in the UK since 2008 with Barclays, with faster payments. So we're pretty well steeped in the knowledge of instant payments. And now with the NPA standard coming out, as well as TIPS in Europe and then SIC5 in Switzerland, we're seeing opportunity across all of the markets that we're operating in, and leveraging the expertise that we've had since 2008 in instant payments. I think when you look at instant payments combined with capabilities that ISO 20022 bring, which is broader messaging capability, business cases like request for payment, small businesses asking for funds to be paid as soon as they've shipped something, allows them to receive cash quicker when cash is king for them. All these things are going to evolve in the payments ecosystem, and instant payments is going to get adoption as we move forward. And we're here to make sure our banks can enable that solution quickly.
It's so exciting, such an interesting space, and thanks for homing in on those two major markets there, the US and the EU. And now coming on to cross-border payments, I know you wanted to discuss that as well, because we're seeing a lot of disruption across this market from the new players, which is putting pressures on the traditional FI. So tell us about some of the challenges there and how those are being mitigated as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's another part of payments that's just exciting, right? So it started actually with retail payments, because it used to be to send money overseas, you had to do it bank to bank through SWIFT, etc. But now you have apps like Remitly, Wise, it's now called Wise, it used to be called TransferWise. Very seamless, very slick apps that you can download, and you can move money to someone overseas instantaneously at a really good user interface. They show you the price of the foreign exchange, they show you when the money will be received, all those kind of customer-friendly elements that weren't there before. That's going to move to wholesale, and that's really where we're focused on. As that moves to wholesale, corporates are going to want to avail themselves of faster, more efficient cross-border money movement. And now we have a plethora of players coming into this space, right? So Visa, MasterCard, they're connected to tens of thousands of banks worldwide. And they believe they can do seamless transmission of money cross-border at a marginal cost of zero. Mm-hmm. And so they're coming in and saying, hey, we'd like to provide cross-border capabilities and payments to banks and corporates. We've got others like Tunes. There's a whole series of these players, some blockchain enabled as well, coming up now. Our view is this, whoever is more successful and can do it more seamlessly for the banks, we should bring them onto our platform. And so with cross-border payments, what we do is we're onboarding these new capabilities onto our platform and making them available to our banks as part of our software package, so that they can pick and choose who they do business with, and it'll meet their different needs. So some of these cross-border solutions focus on Asia as for cross-border rails. Some may focus on the US, or the Americas. It depends on where they're playing, but our job is to make sure we bring those solutions to the banks and say, you decide what you want to use. But and if you believe it's a better solution that you were traditionally using for cross-border payments, then definitely adopt it, right? But we'll make it easy for you. That's what we want to do.
That's a very positive note to lead off from, and good to hear about what you're doing at Finastra and your strategy there as well. I think everything we've covered really hammers home the point that this really is a rapidly evolving market. So it'd be good to end on your advice. How can FIs and the banks make the most of those challenges and opportunities as well?
Look, it's not easy being a banker. I was one for many years, and you're faced with different challenges. I mentioned some of the reg changes, the environment changes. Look, we just had interest rates spike at the fastest rate ever in the history of financial services, I believe. Inflation's at a 40-year high. Yeah. And that raised interest rates, right? That brought a whole bunch of challenges with some of the banks in terms of their bond portfolios, et cetera. There's now talk of interest rates coming down as we move, because everything moves in cycles. When that comes down, banks' NIM, the net interest margin, gets compressed, so their profitability gets compressed. Mm-hmm. Our view is that we want to partner with the banks and be a true partner to help make their business more efficient. So what we do is we're connecting all of our versions of our payment software to our integration layer called FusionFabric.cloud. And onto FusionFabric.cloud, we are bringing global innovation. So if someone wants to do AML KYC, we're onboarding the most slick, most innovative KYC capability providers that help a bank do AML KYC for anti-money laundering in the most efficient way, which will save them a lot of money compared to what they were doing for sanction screening before, as an example. When they light up an instant payment rail, we're bringing AI ML apps that actually do fraud detection onto the platform. Right? All those things are quite interesting for the banks, because they help them either increase their revenues or reduce their cost, in addition to doing the basic function of processing a payment. Mm-hmm. And that FFDC capability that we have, as we onboard these players onto our platform, makes it pretty seamless for the bank to actually do business with them, because the platform is then connected to the software. Yeah. It doesn't require a bespoke connection from the bank to the app, one at a time. They can leverage any of the apps that we have on our platform, and we think that's going to help them see us more as a partner for our solutions, and someone who's helping solution their business model, as opposed to just a software provider.
Wonderful. What I'm hearing is partnership and collaboration is key to the success going forward as well. And safe to say, watch this space, and good advice weaved into your response there as well, Barry. But thank you so much for sharing your insights. Some really exciting trends to discuss further down the line. But thank you very much.
Great. No, thank you, Hannah. Appreciate it.